I would like to invite all the guests to be seated as our ceremony will begin shortly. Please ensure that your handphones are in silent mode or turned off. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all the guests to be seated as our ceremony will begin shortly. Please ensure that your handphones are in silent mode or turned off. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all the guests to be seated as our ceremony will begin shortly. Please ensure that your handphones are in silent mode or turned off. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all the guests to be seated as our ceremony will begin shortly. Please ensure that your handphones are in silent mode or turned off. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all the guests to be seated as our ceremony will begin shortly. Please ensure that your handphones are in silent mode or turned off. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all the guests to be seated as our ceremony will begin shortly. Please ensure that your handphones are in silent mode or turned off. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. We would like to start the ceremony with the singing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. We would like to start the ceremony with the singing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please take your seats. Thank you. Honorable Datuk Excellency Guru Nathan,
Director General of Southeast Asia Regional Center for Counter-Terrorism, Siasat. His Excellency Brian Mcfeetus, U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia. Honorable Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar, President of the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Honorable Datuk Dr. Shamil Waria, Chairman of Malaysian Press Institute, Professor Dr. Abdulaziz Bugud, Dean of International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, U.S. International Islamic University, Malaysia. Honorable guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Welcome to the launching of mycveguide.com and viewing of Countering Violent Extremism video campaign. Before we begin, all invited guests are encouraged to always observe physical distancing of 1 meter apart and wear face masks at all times. Observe coughing or sneezing etiquette and sanitize your hands. Thank you. And viewing of Without further ado, I would like to call upon Ustaz Muhammad Nazrin bin Abdul Rahman, the religious officer of ISTAC-IIUM, to recite the dua. Distancing of 1 meter apart and wear face masks at all times. Observe coughing or sneezing etiquette.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. And viewing
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وطاعتك. O Allah, the changer of the hearts, make our hearts firm upon your religion and obedience. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك عبدك ونبيك ونعوذ بك من شر ما عاذ به عبدك ونبيك. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب منها من قول أو عمل ونسألك أن تجعل كل قضاء قضيته لنا خيرا. O Allah, we ask you of all good of what we have done and what we have not done in this world and in the year after. We seek refuge in you from the evil of what we have done and what we have not done in this world and in the year after. O Allah, we ask of you of all good that your servant and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to ask of you. We seek refuge in you from all evil that your servant and Prophet Muhammad used to seek refuge in you from. O Allah, we ask you for paradise and what brings O Allah, we ask of you of all good that your servant and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to ask of you. We seek refuge in you from all evil that your servant and Prophet Muhammad used. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-'afwa wal-'afiyah fi dinina wa dunyana wa ahlina wa amwalina. Allahumma astur 'awratana wa amin raw'atana. اللهم احفظنا من بين أيدينا ومن خلفنا وعن يميننا وعن شمالنا ومن فوقنا ونعوذ بك أن نغتال من تحتنا. O Allah, we ask you for forgiveness and well-being in this world and in the hereafter. O Allah, we ask you for forgiveness and well-being in our religious and our worldly affairs. O Allah, conceal our faults, calm our fears, and protect us from before us and behind us, from our right and our left, and from above us, and we seek refuge in you from being taken unaware from beneath you. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من جهد البلاء ودرك الشقاء وسوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء. O Allah, we seek refuge with you from the difficulties of severe calamities, from having an evil end and a bad fate, and from the malicious joy of your enemies. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام ومن سيء الأسقام. O Allah, we seek refuge with you from leprosy, madness, elephantiasis, and evil diseases. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. O our Lord, give us in this world that which is good, and in the hereafter that which is good, and protect us from the punishment of the fire. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ustaz Nazreen. Before we begin this ceremony, I would like to provide a brief overview of this website. mycveguide.com is built as a one-stop portal for preventing and countering violent extremism, or in short, PCVE, related content in Malaysia as well as regional and global concerns. The portal is meant to provide original PCVE content as well as secondary sources, for example, the news, webinars, trainings, engagements, research, and resources, among others. It will also serve the role of a style guide to help educate journalists to responsibly report or write on violent extremism and terrorism. To begin this ceremony, I would like to invite the Honorable Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar, IIUM President, to deliver his welcoming speech. Tan Sri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil amin, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thank you, Madam MC. Honorable Dato' Ganesan Siva Gurunathan, Director General of Southeast Asia Regional Center for Counter-Terrorism, or Siasat. His Excellency Brian Mcfeetus, U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia. Honorable Datuk Dr. Chamel Waria, Chairman of Malaysian Press Institute. Professor Dr. Abdul Aziz Berghud, Dean of International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, ISTAC, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Honorable guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good morning. Firstly, I wish to express my heartfelt thanks and profound gratitude to the organizers for inviting me to attend and to give a few welcoming remarks at this rather unique event, namely launching of the mycveguide.com web portal and viewing of CVE, Countering Violent Extremism video campaign. Thank you to the joint event organizers and project collaborators, namely ISTAC-IIUM, United States Embassy Kuala Lumpur, MPI, that is Malaysia Press Institute, Siasat, and USM, University of Science Malaysia. Indeed, it is reassuring to see ISTAC-IIUM being able to work on peace-building related projects with various stakeholders of national and international security and public safety for the realization of the myCVE Guide web portal. I am especially humble and grateful that our guest of honor, Yang Bahagia Datuk Ganesan Siva Gurunathan, the Director General of Siasat, has agreed to join us this morning to launch the mycveguide.com web portal. I'm also humble and honored that His Excellency Brian D. Mcfeetus, U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia, has kindly agreed to join us this morning as our special guest for this morning's launching event. I also would like to welcome the many important guests and stakeholders that were invited today from various agencies, institutions, and friends from the media to make this event a meaningful and memorable one. Special thanks must also be mentioned for the host of today's event, namely ISTAC-IIUM and its Dean, Professor Dr. Abdul Aziz Berhad for facilitating this event under COVID-19 SOPs. Ladies and gentlemen, from the year 2019, IUM has launched a series of different flagship projects intended to achieve outcomes and impact based on the shared platform of sustainable development goals and maqasid al-Sharia. That is the very objective of the Sharia. Alhamdulillah, praise to God, most of these projects have continued to contribute in this regard. The launching of the mycveguide.com web portal is very much linked to flagship projects #11 for peace building and civilizational development, or otherwise also known as the 2 Lead for Peace projects, which is coordinated by Associate Professor Dr. Daniel Yusuf. In 2020, just before the pandemic, I had the pleasure of welcoming youth participants from around Malaysia for a national convention on youth and CVE awareness in IIUM Gombak campus. That event also involved collaboration of security and public safety stakeholders, a number of whom are also here today. It is heartening to see such collaboration being sustained for the public good. It is thus encouraging to see the flagship and ISTAC-IIUM being the host of the mycveguide.com web portal. Ladies and gentlemen, research and experience over the past decade have shown the prominence of VE organization, their activities, ideological promotion and recruitment, not forgetting to mention self-radicalization is being done either online or in digital space of social media. This security threat, among others, is targeted at the youth who are very much vulnerable to various media propaganda and triggers from extremist ideologies to issues of social and political injustices, with violence being promoted and justified as a response or an initiative. In Malaysia, the over 500 plus cases of arrests in relation to VE and terrorism in 2020 were all facilitated to a large degree by social media. A study conducted by ISTAC-IIUM in 2020 also found that our youth are dependent on social media sources on getting information from the likes of Facebook, Telegram, WeChat, and WhatsApp. As a result, mycveguide.com was conceived as a one-stop portal for CVE-related content in Malaysia, as well as related regional and global concern. The portal is meant to provide original content as well as secondary sources, example, news, webinars, training, engagement, research, and resources, among others. We will also serve the role of a style guide to help educate journalists, even journalists, to responsibly report or write on VE and terrorism. Hence, this emphasizes the importance of the collaborators of the web portal in the building of knowledge and capacity it hopes to accumulate in the near and far future. At the same time, the delay in the launching of mycveguide.com is somewhat opportune, having initially been slated for launching in 2021. I am also informed that Malaysia will be launching her National Action Plan for Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism, NAPPCVE, later this month or in April of 2022 by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The portal thus will be closely linked to and supporting of the new ecosystem of security and public safety in Malaysia that will be provided by the introduction of the national plan to end the collaboration between ISTAC-IIUM, MPI, Siasat, and USM on mycveguide.com will hopefully combine to curate important and relevant CVE content for the future. As a footnote to my speech, I have the pleasure to put some important remarks and insights for the interest of all attending this event. Extremism has no religion, and to a large extent, as alluded by many great thinkers of the world, extremism has become a new religion, combining all sects of those who have, been convinced that extremism is the way forward to change the world. Today we are here in this great and beautiful hall to express our dissatisfaction and also our collaborative and combined effort to fight the terrorism in one way or another. So the launching of this portal will be the beginning of its right journey to arrest, to manage, and perhaps to dismantle the mindset and the initiative and the movement of extremism worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I will now make way for a special speech by His Excellency Brian D. Mcfeetus, U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia. I again bid you all a warm welcome to IUM and wishing you a very productive collaboration with us in the future. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Tan Sri. Next, let us all welcome His Excellency Brian Mcfeetus, U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia, for his special remarks. Your Excellency.
Sorry, I can't remember. Do we take off our masks here or keep it on? It's okay? I think I have enough distance here. Thank you. Well, good morning, Honorable Dato Ganesan, my partner from the embassy's point of view, Honorable Tan Sri Dato Muhammad Daud Bakar, President of the International Islamic University of Malaysia, Honorable Dato Chamil Waria from the Malaysian Press Institute, and Professor Dr. Abdulaziz Bergot, Dean of International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization. What a beautiful campus and institute you have here. I'm happy to see it. Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar, I have some prepared remarks, but just a reaction to a couple things you said. A lot of that really resonates with me. The fact that we're talking about an online resource here, but you've been convening youth in person. I think doing both. We can't do it all online. So the fact that you're bringing youth together is really great. And the other thing that resonated with me among many other issues is extremism is not a religious issue. It's an aberration, if I understand you correctly. It's an aberration. It's a misuse of religious terms and thought. And I think that's a global issue that the United States is working with many partners on. I also want to say at the outset that at the embassy lately we've been working on the Indo-Pacific Strategy, which is the U.S. government's broad-based view on how to work with the Indo-Pacific, which we've acknowledged is the most important region in the world for us, economically, security-wise, people to people. And this is it's a 20-page document, but the essential point of that strategy is for embassies like ours to do a better job of working with our close partners, Malaysia being a close partner, and this is a specific partnership. So this is something that fits exactly into our Indo-Pacific strategy. I'm proud that the Embassy is coming together with leading media organizations, content creators, and local partners in preventing and countering violent extremism. We're just part of your larger effort. We're all aware that terrorism and violent extremism remain a pressing threat against our security at home and abroad, worldwide. The United States and Malaysia, both at the government level and at the NGO and academic level, have been long-standing partners in promoting prevention efforts that will disrupt the presence of terrorist networks within our borders and online. The focus, as you talked about, self-radicalization, that's such a danger. One person alone in their room might have this bad influence, and how would we know? We welcome the engagement of civil society, academics, and journalists who play a critical role in such efforts. These groups have unique insights into our communities, and they're often best placed to understand the drivers to extremism and help counter narratives and recruitment by terrorism networks. We're very excited about the mycveguide.com portal that's going to be introduced today. It's one of the projects that we've worked on together with our Malaysian partners to address the threats of online radicalization. The launch of this portal is timely, given the increasing connectedness that internet and social media offer. And you referred, sir, to the fact that many young people are dependent on social media, using it quite a bit. It's crucial that we shift to the digital space and redefine prevention to meet today's threats. We hope that mycveguide.com will become a primary tool to help members of the media, researchers, and practitioners to analyze and better understand terrorism and violent extremism. The complex and evolving issue can only be addressed if we're equipped, if the journalists are also equipped with the right information and the right tools to defend against it. Apart from the development of the web portal, this project is at the same time building capacity to address extremism and promote positive decision-making among Malaysians, especially young people, through the CVE video campaign, and I think we're going to see an example later. This is one of the many efforts that we have in the pipeline to counter these threats. All of these programs demonstrate the importance we place on promoting peace and mutual security in Malaysia, the region, and globally. Kami di Kedutaan Amerika Syarikat sentiasa bersedia untuk menjadi rakan kongsi yang aktif bersama Malaysia dan komited sepenuhnya dalam sokongan kami untuk membangun strategi dan inisiatif untuk mencegah keganasan. That's what this is all about, preventing terrorism. Terima kasih sekali lagi saya ucapkan kerana sudah hadir bersama-sama kami dalam memeriahkan majlis kita hari ini. Let's work toward a future of peace, mutual understanding, and opportunity that's worthy of the hard work, creativity, and leadership we've seen today. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived to the pinnacle of our event, the launching ceremony. Please welcome the Honorable Datuk Ganesan Siva Gurunathan, Director General of Siasat MOFA, to give his launching speech on behalf of the Deputy Minister of MOFA.
His Excellency Brian Mcfeetus, U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia, Honorable Tan Sri Dato' Dr. Muhammad Bakar, President of the International Islamic University Malaysia, Honorable Dato' Kamil Waria, Chairman of the Malaysia Press Institute, Professor Dato' Abdul Aziz, Dean of the Institute, Honorable members, guests, members, and ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by expressing my profound thanks to the organizers for inviting me to launch the MyCVE Guide web portal. I would also like to thank the management of ISTAC-IIUM and the President, Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Abdul Bakar, for being the gracious host to host this event. Thank you also for the presence of His Excellency Brian Mcfeetus of US Embassy to Malaysia as a special guest for the event and as an ardent supporter of the web-based CVE sector. I also want to congratulate the joint event organizers, project collaborators, namely ISTAC-IIUM, US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia Press Institute, and our very own Siasat. It is satisfying to see that the scope of the collaboration that has facilitated the realization of Malaysia's based PCVE web portal. As the IIUM President had mentioned in his welcoming remarks, it is intended with Malaysia's launch, it is timely in launching with the National Action Plan for preventing and countering violent extremism that is looming in the horizon. For your information, the National Action Plan is an initiative introduced by the United Nations under the United Nations Development Program to all UN states members in order to combat global terrorism at every level or form. Within the National Action Plan, there is a need to take more comprehensive approaches, which encompasses not only original, essential security-based counter-terrorism measures, but also systemic private measures which directly address the drivers of violent extremism. A combination of hard and soft approaches is required in the plan of action, consisting of law enforcement, de-radicalization, rehabilitation and reintegration, education, engagement with others, with society, and the vulnerable groups. To fulfill Malaysia's PCV commitment, the Ministry of Home Affairs was entrusted to develop and prepare the PCVE National Action Plan for 2022-2020, for the term 2022 and 2025 for Malaysia. The plan is expected to provide a clear direction, a comprehensive set of implementing strategies, objectives, initiatives, and indicators, as well as results contribute to the security and public safety of the country. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or Wisma Putra, is also eager to play a role in the plan. Ladies and gentlemen, the CVE and CT to share responsibilities between states, governments, and civil societies to empower the community against terrorism and violent extremism indicates that the CVE sector is focusing on the development of the resilience. The necessity of evolution includes: 1, the rise and fall of the IS ideology and latency of religious extremism, and 2, now the radicalization of identity politics, for example, i.e. the radicalization or mobilization of violent extremism. The shift towards resilience looks at the CEV in the context of a global prevention architecture focusing on mitigation and recovery. In effect, certain trends pertaining to risk resilience will be facilitated and improved in the plan. Resilience is an approach to CEV known as the whole of society approach, bridging both society and the security apparatus, which includes, among others, 1, strengthening and incentivizing local-led CEV efforts by agencies working together with the existing state and society. 2, enhancing the contribution of CSOs to PCVE. Collaboration among the national and subnational authorities and stakeholder relevance to PCVE. 4, improving evidence-based monitoring for evaluating CEV efforts. The resilience narrative is pervasive and is the mainstay of approach among the CVE practitioners, researchers, and the international organizations. In terms of policy making and performance, 7 priority areas are highlighted and need to be looked into the context and capacity building. First is dialogue and conflict prevention, strengthening rule of law, engaging communities, empowering youth, gender equality, and empowerment of women, education, skills development, and employment facilities, and the use of internet. The National Action Plan, because of this soon to be launched National Action Plan will look into all these areas and make it a viable plan. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to digress for a moment briefly to mention the history and the role of the Southeast Asia Center for Counter-Terrorism, or SIASAT, in the CVE and CT, and in the CEV, which is, as you all know, SIASAT comes under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm indeed delighted that we are involved in the collaboration in the mycevguide.com. SIASAT was established in 2023 for the purpose of developing narrative of peaceful security. The center works together with local and international agencies in developing effective counter-messaging. SIASAT has been conducting capacity-building programs, lectures, and seminars regarding radicalization. The work in SIASAT on this area has been spearheaded by the Digital Strategy Communications Division, and these activities are primarily aimed at reducing appeal of support for terrorists and violent extremism. The center has been focusing on youth messaging as part of the growing effort to develop awareness and capacity for youth and social media. As I had mentioned earlier, SIASAT will be an eager partner in the role of the NAP and the mycvguide.com. As for SIASAT, a specialized center for CVE and CT, the plan is likely to help familiarize and expand its function and collaboration in the national CVE framework. It is already a reference or subject matter specialist on CVE, identifying contemporary manifestations and all challenges of extremism regarding religious and whether it's born from hatred or extremism, COVID-19 related religious xenophobia narratives, ideological and identity politics, far-right extremism, and manifestation of regional self-de-radicalization or recruitment dynamics. Siasat was also developed to counter narratives on social media by engaging with practitioners and partners, academics, CSOs, and vulnerable communities with focus on youth. Siasat also embraces the desire. Siasat also embraces the desire. Siasat also is involved in a lot of other issues, and we would like to continue to contribute to the national plan. Returning to the plan of action or the framework for PCVE, the national plan, there is a lot of possibilities. Collaboration is possible to encourage continuity and sustainability of activities, optimizing of resources, and to reduce wastage from programming over with other implementing agencies. The mycvguide.com web portal post is conceived as a one-stop portal for PCVE-related content in Malaysia as well as in the region and global concerns. The portal is meant to provide original PCVE content as well as secondary sources, for example, news and other areas. It will share several of these roles style by guiding the familiarization of the policymakers, researchers, practitioners, students, and members of the public. For journalists, I think that there is an important role for them to play, and I think there has to be several points that we have to raise here. First is the use and avoid of bias. Journals must ensure that the reporting is objective, accurate, impartial, inclusive, fact-based, and independent. Journalism must report professionally with codes of journalism conduct and ethics. 2, it is crucial for journalists to understand the terminologies conveyed correctly in their reports. Learn the concepts of radicalization and violent extremism before you report about them. Make sure that your audience understands the concepts and drivers related to the CVE. Terrorism teach journalists to produce content on preventive rather than divisive radicalization. 3, the journalist should also ensure that all voices are included, especially the voice of marginalized groups or non-majority communities. Journalists should also ensure that the information obtained from the self-appointed spokesperson of the community is verified. 4, journalists must ensure that they do not publish inflammatory content, as it may produce serious consequences and negative effect and could lead to misinterpretation of the CVE phenomenon. To conclude, I pray that the mycveguide.com will play a prominent role in the digital space soon, in the soon-to-be launched PCVE ecosystem in Malaysia. I wish the collaborators of the mycveguide.com the best of luck in their undertaking, and wishing everybody a safe stay. Thank you. With that, I would like to officially launch the mycveguide.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dato', for the launching speech. We will now be viewing the launching video for the web portal mycveguide.com. A brief information about this video. It was produced by Pongo Studio. This studio is based in University Science Malaysia, Pulau Pinang. It is an independent-based production team and filmmakers. This video aims at introducing mycveguide.com as a reliable platform for fact-checking, especially to youth who are vulnerable to various media propaganda and triggers, from extremist ideologies to issues of social and political injustices, with violence being promoted and justified as a response or initiative. Let us take a look at the video trailer of mycve.com.
Often, when we least expect it, unpredictable things can happen.
We still do not know how many people are involved, and speculations are going crazy all over the internet.
This just in. An explosion has been reported international airport.
Early investigations indicate that this might be a terrorist attack.
The response to these shocking events, however, is often more predictable. Shock, disbelief, confusion,
Hello everyone, this is Black
speculation.
Today I'm going to be talking about the recent airport attack in Malaysia, and I have 10 very valid opinion on why this is.
Kamu pernah dengar kan beberapa tahun yang lalu terrorist attack itu?
Fear. Often, there seem to be no answers. Only more questions. But even when the facts appear arguable, even when the truth appears unattainable, knowing the right source to turn to can make all the difference. When in doubt, get verified, unbiased information on terrorism, extremism, and violent radicalization from the Malaysian Counter-Violence and Extremism portal.
Next, we will be watching another video thriller. This video is produced by Fat Bidin Media. Fat Bidin's national CVE-PVE documentaries consist of 2 feature-length documentaries, 2 hyperlocal YouTube, and 2 special reports that have come out on the Malaysian Insight and the Vibes. This is a collaborative project between the US Embassy Kuala Lumpur and Fat Bidin Media. These videos are also available on mycveguide.com. Let us call upon Ms. Cheryl A. Bustaman, the producer at Fat Bidin Media, for an overview of the Fat Bidin CVE-PVE campaign video showcase.
Sorry, I'm significantly shorter than everybody that's been up here. All right, so truly, if I were to summarize the Fat Bidin National CVE-PVE campaign, it has been an effort in ensuring that content creators across different mediums are skilled in creating CVE and PVE content. In a world where conflict and extremism isn't just limited to violence, getting creative and diverse about the ways to counter it is essential, which is what we have achieved with the products in this campaign. Our first feature documentary is the touching tale of the ex-wife of an extremist that compassionately was teased out by the director Nora Nabila, who is here today. And our second feature documentary is an exciting journey through the Kelantan-Patani conflict, through the lens of the people that it affects the most living at the border of Kelantan, skillfully navigated by Hadi Azmi. Our third documentary is going to explore the aftermath of the Lahad Datu conflict and will be directed by native Sabahan artist Harold Egan Eswar. We're thankful to our broadcasting partner Astro AWANI for giving these stories a space to live on their platform and for the wide audience range it affords our content. A root cause of the extremism that is often ignored is underrepresentation, voices that are ignored and faces that are not seen in the mainstream, oppression by silence. Which is why our hyper-local YouTube channels made specifically for the Kelantanese and Sabahan audiences are so important. The Sabahan one even being run by locals who capture Sabah through a colloquial lens that is filled with warmth and community. Funnily enough, our journalists in the Fat Bidin News program had already unknowingly creating CVE content, which made crafting narratives and mentoring them so much easier. To see their growth in the produced stories through their different mediums was something that I'm very proud of, and I thank the editors at the Malay Mail, The Vibes, the Malaysian Insight, and Astro AWANI yet again for allowing them to be a part of us. At the end of the day, oh yes, applause for them, please. At the end of the day, CVE and PVE works come from attempts at understanding different perspectives and encouraging open dialogue and conversation, so that while we may be on different sides of the fence, we can still agree to disagree, and perhaps all have a seat at the same table of peace. The video you're about to see is a accumulation of the campaigns so far that we've compressed into 2 minutes to save everybody some time, that we've managed to achieve in spite of the 2-year pandemic and its many, many, many restrictions. There is more to come, and we thank the good people at the US Embassy, particularly Roha Ismail, at ISTAC, like Dr. Daniel Yusof, and also at Siasat, specifically former Siasat officer Adlis Adnan, for always keeping Fat Bidin in mind and giving us a space on the MyCV guide to showcase our work. Thank you so, so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Cheryl. So let's enjoy the video. Very interesting indeed. We will now proceed with the souvenir presentation session. Let us call upon the Honorable Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar on stage, accompanied by Professor Dr. Abdul Aziz Bagud. Firstly, I would like to invite the Honorable Datuk Ganesan Siva Gurunathan on stage to receive a token of appreciation from IIUM. Datuk, please remain on stage. Next, I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Brian Mcfeetus, the U.S. Ambassador to Malaysia, to receive a token of appreciation from IIUM and also our heartfelt gratitude to the U.S. Embassy for the various collaborations with ISTAC-IIUM on countering violent extremism in Malaysia and for your continuous support to the progress of IIUM. I would now like to invite Datuk Dr. Shamil Waria, CEO of Malaysian Press Institute, to join the gentlemen on stage for a photography session. Thank you very much, sirs. Okay, please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, our ceremony has come to the end. Once again, thank you for gracing our launching ceremony with your presence. We invite our distinguished guests for a press conference at the holding room, and everyone is invited for lunch in the hall. Thank you again, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kelantan